Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about early music education and how it affects developing cognition in children. So, it is without question that musically trained children score higher on average on tests such as the IQ test, task switching tests, etc. That is just a fact that is confirmed by many studies um, than non musical children. There are a few hypothesized reasons for this, one being that overlapping perceptual thought processes interact with one another in unexpected ways. It could also have to do with neuroplasticity in childhood development, changes in the brain structure and form. Finally, there is the theory of the phonological loop, which helps what is believed to handle all of our auditory and verbal information. There are two stages of the phonological loop, or should I say, the theorized phonological loop. Storage and rehearsal. Storage is exactly what it sounds like. Stages, uh, verbal or auditory information being stored in the system of the loop. Rehearsal is the repetitive cycle of the info being expressed, which is believed to be refreshed about every 2 seconds. The phonological loop is probably the most key concept in the theory behind early music education and cognition. It is what is exercised when we say numbers or letters out loud to memorize them, but it is the measure that is greater in musician children that we can point to. Far transfer and near transfer are almost important. If some skill has far transfer from another, it requires a totally different skill set, while near transfer, understandably, is the opposite. In pretty much all of the studies I consulted, far transfer rates were low, which indicated a lesser connection between musical aptitude and cognition. Since it was uncommon, learning an instrument should have been no more difficult than learning how to play a video game or sport, which have near transfer properties. Moreover, it didn't seem to play a huge role in settling the learning process. Let's talk about correlation versus causation. A study conducted compared how many causal claims that neuroscientists made versus behavioral psychologists. The results were surprising. A whopping 82% of neuroscientists made causal claims in the sample studies, while only 39% of behavioral psychologists did. To a degree, though, this does make sense. Neuroscientists use medical imaging equipment and strive to utilize scientific/empirical techniques, which make them a whole lot more confident in their results. Behavioral psychologists, however, often deal more with theory and inferences from observation. Naturally, we would like to know in the grand scheme of things exactly what causes what and why, and that's why causal claims with certainty are the best information you can hope for. One also one other somewhat resolved question regarding the effect of early musical education is on emotion. It seems likely that music would play a big role in emotional development, as humans often associate music with emotional experiments. A study of 7 to 8-year-olds taking the TEC, transfer emotional comprehension, followed by a brief IQ test, showed that there were children who did unsurprisingly higher on the IQ tests, but scored about the same on the TEC tests, um, which goes to show that there wasn't too much of a correlation between uh, emotional development and musical development. So, I mean, inclusion, the links between cognitive development and early musical training are complex and nuanced to say the least. despite seeming straightforward in their general conclusions. I see no reason not to say that it should be encouraged for those raising a child to educate them musically because it demonstrably does yield benefits.